Sallallahu Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I begin in the name of Allah, our Creator, Sustainer, Evolver, Lord and Cherisher of all the world. I ask that His choicest blessings be placed on the last of His prophets, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and on all the messengers who came before him, and on his blessed family. Today is a very important and very special day for me and for most of the people who are here. What I find very amazing is that for those of us who are Muslims today, who weren't necessarily born into the religion of Islam, many of us cannot give our conversion story of how it is that we reached the level of becoming Muslims without mentioning Al-Hajj Malik Al-Shabazz or Brother Malcolm X. I was asked by our good brother to give a talk, and he gave me 3 things to concentrate on. So I'm going to try my best to concentrate on those things. And what I found very interesting is that he said, you know, I want you to show the similarities between Brother Malcolm and Imam Hussain. And when I was thinking about what these similarities are going to be, I wanted to put some stuff out there like I was the smart guy and show that I had all of this information, but our children are so much smarter than me. The similarities, the things that they found in common between Al-Hajj and Imam Hussain that they displayed for us have to be commended. They're learning. They know things. So what I'm going to do is, because we saw that stuff out there, I'm not going to mention what our beautiful children had already mentioned. And if I mention it, it'll just be by mistake. But it's excellent. The first thing I was asked to talk about was this concept of self-determination. Beautiful word. But what does it really mean? How does it affect us as human beings? What are the byproducts of truly understanding self-determination and having the skills to bring that self-determination out so that others can see? Self-determination is defined as the ability or power to make decisions for oneself. That means that you decide what to do, not someone else. Self-determination, in its definition, when people began to talk about self-determination, they were not talking about an individual. Self-determination is what they call a macro word. It's a word that applies to the greater society. Self-determination was given the definition of having the ability to control one's destiny by a country without having another country come in and dictate to that country what it can and cannot do. But this thing on the macro level could be reduced down to the micro level, you and I, where we too should have the right to do the things that we want to do in order to determine the things that we want in life. This self-determination, what does it do for us? The first thing self-determination does is it allows for us to appreciate the strengths that we have and to be able to recognize the strength in other people. When you know who you are, because in order to have self-determination, you have to have pride in self. You have to have knowledge of self. You have to understand that what makes me unique, the essence of me, isn't something that makes me better than somebody else, but it allows for me to be a part of a community, to be a part of a situation where I can add something and we can get the strongest type of relationship there is. Some people say, I want to be independent. That's where I show strength. Independence is not strength. Interdependence is strength. If you're a carpenter and you have logs, you have 2x4s, but you don't have no nails, how's that going to work out for you? If you're a baker and you have sugar, you're trying to make a cake and you don't have flour, how is that going to work out for you? Interdependence means I bring the best of me, you bring the best of you, and together we synthesize and we become that much better. When we exercise self-determination, we're able to set demanding and realistic goals for ourselves and our communities. If you want Son of Mary to grow, if you want the Islamic religion to grow, if you want things to be better for black people in America, if you want things for America, period, you will have to be able to set forth goals that are going to be beneficial for everyone. Where does this come from? It comes from our self-determination to want something better for ourselves. It helps us to make appropriate choices and decisions when we have self-determination. When we're young, we get a little money, I'm gonna go buy this outfit. When we're young, I got this money, I'm gonna spend $500-600 on a car note. When we're young, we don't think about what's going to happen in our future. How are we going to be able to maintain? How are we going to be able to leave something for someone else? Self-determination says, I'm one existence, but what happens when I leave here? Quick question. How many of you as parents have something that you can leave to your kids that's tangible? How many of you guys have investments that you can leave to your kids? You, with this self-determination, have opened something up. Now, how many of you guys have taught your kids what to do with that? Have you given them a plan? See, because one of the things that we do is we say, oh, I did this for self, I'm good, I'm going to pass it to my kids, and as soon as the kids get it, it's gone. Think about our best communities in this country. How did they become gentrified to begin with? Many of our kids were left the house in the area. I don't want to live in this house. This isn't the type of house I want. I'm going to sell this house. I'm going to take the money off the house. No more legacy for the kids. They're not going to save the money. How are they doing now with self-determination? Do they have something to jump on, to bounce off, to springboard them into having a better life? Isn't it our plan as parents to make their lives better than ours? But if you don't instruct your children on what to do and how to do it, for them to make better choices too, then their self-determination is lowered. Self-determination accepts responsibility for our choices and our decisions. We're 100% accountable when we decide to exercise self-determination. Self-determination, it develops problem-solving skills. There's a problem here. How do we deal with it? With the interdependence, we understand that we don't have to come up with all the answers. We can add a piece to this or a piece to that. Meld it all together to make situations better for us. Self-determination allows people to assert ourselves whenever it's necessary. That self-determination doesn't don't put us in a situation where it says the empty wagon makes a loud noise. When we decide that we're going to make a noise, it's purposeful. It's deliberate. We have something to say. We have something to do. Self-determination allows us to advocate for ourselves. If you don't speak up for you, who's going to speak up for you? Self-determination allows for us to achieve our goals. Our brother Malcolm X, in my humble opinion, when it came down to self-determination and what it is that we need to do as black folks, not only then in his time, but throughout history after him, and for the next few years in our foreseeable future, he gave us the formula for self-determination. Now, we all know that statement, by any means necessary. But how many of us know the content, the context of any means necessary? I mean, by any means necessary, the reason why people were able to try to attack our brother and try to say that he was this vicious person, that he didn't care about humanity, was because, listen to what he said, by any means necessary. That means that he says, by any means, you go shoot somebody if things don't go your way. That's not the context of what he said. I'm going to read to you what it is that he said before he said, by any means necessary. And what's important in this is to understand that a year before he died is when he made this statement. I believe that Malcolm, at that point in time, understood self-determination so much that he made choices to say, I'm going to stand up front, and I know what happened to our people who stood up in front in history. I know that my day is going to come. See, we talk about Malcolm being a martyr, but there's a word in Islam called shaheed, and we say that it means martyrdom too, but it's more than just plain martyrdom.
Come on, come on.
Martyrdom, in the terms of Islam, means that there is a purpose. You just don't die haphazardly. You are dying in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Malcolm had already understood back then that I'm just not dying for me. I'm going to give you all of these jewels. I'm going to give you these pearls before I leave this place. Malcolm said, and he's speaking on our behalf, listen to how he speaks it. He says, we, black folks, declare our right on this earth, come on, to be a man. To be a man. How simple is that? Why is it so important that when we make the distinction between Malcolm, when someone says Malcolm was a civil rights leader, I say, no sir, no ma'am, no sir. He was not a civil rights leader. And if you called him a civil rights leader, he would vehemently disagree with you. Nah, man, you don't know what you're talking about. He was doing the civil rights era. Yes, he was. But Malcolm said, if people gave us human rights, there would be no need for us to fight for civil rights.
Come on, come on.
Because we weren't recognized as men. He said, we declare our right on this earth to be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being. Why would he say to be respected as a human being? Because who turns dogs on to human beings? Who put water hoses on human beings? Who would take a human being, strip him naked, put him in front of children, put flyers out to have an event, to string him up on a tree, cut off his manhood, put it in his mouth, burn him, and invite people to have a party, a picnic?
Come on, brother.
While this is going on.
Speak.
This is what Malcolm is talking about. This is that self-determination. He's telling us, I'm telling you to respect me as a man because I make the decision to be a man. I don't need your validation to be a man. I'm already that. But you need to understand that I'm this man.
Come on.
He says, to be given the rights of a human being in this society. Human beings in the society, someone could move into this country. They didn't have to be citizens for very long, but they had the right to own land. They had the right to vote. They had the right to get medical treatment. They had the rights that we take for granted today. But Malcolm is saying at that time, look, give this to us, not because we're asking, but because we deserve it. Our born right, inalienable right, is to be treated as this man. And he said, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.
Come on.
Simply treat me like a man. That's self-determination. That whole story that our good sister Saida had given us speaks to Malcolm's self-determination. To say that he came from a situation where he wasn't supposed to be successful.
Come on.
I want to draw some correlations here. Malcolm was 6 years old when his father died. I know somebody else who, when he was 6 years old, he was a total orphan.
Come on. Come on.
A man by the name of Muhammad ibn Abdullah.
Come on. Come on.
So what for y'all?
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
You know, they talk about Malcolm's mother being Majnun, crazy. What did they say about my prophet?
Come on.
He's Majnun, he's crazy. You're talking about Malcolm with this determination. Malcolm loved his people with an inordinate love. Because he loved his people so much, and because he stood up for people who didn't have the backbone, who didn't have the confidence, who didn't trust themselves, who didn't know themselves, Malcolm, what the writer said back in the day was, Malcolm is our manhood.
Come on.
How heavy is that? He is our manhood.
Ya Allah.
He is saying the things that we want to say, that we wish that we could say. He's bringing something into effect that we should all know, that we should all deal with. I'll tell you about my man Malcolm.
Come on.
I said, if we were to understand what Malcolm was talking about back then, how great would black people be today? Malcolm said, when you hear these young folks talking about economics and how many times a dollar circulates in the community, Malcolm was the first person I heard talk about that.
Come on.
When it came down to putting money back into your community, teaching your own people, having a piece of land, yeah, he got that part from Elijah Muhammad. But Elijah Muhammad, this is taken away from Elijah Muhammad. But before Malcolm X came around, there were only maybe 9, 10 Islamic temples in the country. By the time Malcolm finished, it was hundreds, from sea to shining sea. He had the ability to bring the masses because he was just that. He was our manhood. He understood the self-determination. When Malcolm went to Hajj and Malcolm came back, and I lived vicariously through Malcolm when I read his book. I made the transformation in my life when he made the transformation in his book. I said, how in the world can this man go from saying, you white devil,
Come on.
to saying, you know what? I'm going to put my hand in the same bowl with this white man and eat his food. He said, I'm going to take a cup that the white man, this devil that I call him, yeah, I knew it was because of his behavior. I knew it was because of his psychosis. I knew it was because of his pathology. But I'm going to take this cup and I'm going to drink from this cup. Because what I used to do and how I used to do it, I don't do that anymore. Now I'm going to bring the similarities between my brother Malcolm and my brother Hussain, my Imam Hussain. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
if I was to ask you, what was the goal of Imam Hussain? And I'm asking, what was it that Imam Hussain said on the battlefield before he went to fight? What did he say his mission was? Anybody?
He said, I have not risen to create mischief, but to reform the religion of my father and my grandfather.
Absolutely. What else did he say? How was he going to bring that into effect?
Victory.
Basically what Malcolm X said.
No. Not what Malcolm X said. He said something specific about reforming the ummah of his grandfather. He said, I will do this by doing Amr bil Ma'aruf
Come on.
wa Nahy anil Munkar. He said, I am going to do this by enjoining
Good.
what is right and forbidding what is
Come
wrong.
on.
Malcolm loved his people so much. See, we didn't have the terminology. Malcolm didn't have that in his repertoire at the time. I'm sure he understood the concepts, but this is the beautiful thing about life. And I tell people this all the time. Don't let somebody make you think that in order to be a Muslim, I need to have a language. Throw that away. Because our brother Malcolm, he may have been able to speak a few words in Arabic,
Come on.
but what he knew more than anything else was he understood framework. He understood conceptions. He understood how to bring those things into being. When he said by any means necessary here, what he was telling us was, look, how are you supposed to treat your brother? How are you supposed to treat humanity? How are you supposed to get along with one another? Question becomes, did Malcolm go out and ask people to fight against him? No. If Malcolm was on the plains of Karbala, he would have changed his words up a little bit from the way that Imam Hussain changed it up. See, Imam Hussain said, have I usurped the rights of any of you? He said, have I changed the Quran?
Come on. Come on.
He said, have you seen me go out and break any of the laws or tenets of Islam?
Preach.
The people said no. I would say Malcolm would have said, if he stood up before he died, before he went into that battle, have I lied about what happened here in America? Did I tell a lie when I said you lynched my people? Did I tell a lie when I said that you stole our legacy, our history, our language away from us? Did I say anything that went against what is true? Did I do anything to bring your malice towards me? No. But people don't like the truth. And because they don't like the truth, they had to destroy him. You see, the evil people, those people who wanted to rule the world, those people who wanted power, they said, if we don't kill Hussain, what we want to do won't be possible. What do you think they said about Malcolm? Any of you read the book, the CIA book that they wrote on Malcolm?
Yeah.
They said, we sent this man prostitutes and hookers to his room, butt naked. He didn't budge. We offered this man money. He didn't budge. We offered this man position. He didn't budge. This is a man who has integrity. This is a man who understands self-determination. He's not going to be swayed by anything material that we can give to him. He's going to stand on his own, and if we don't kill him, our plans for America to remain the way that it is will not bring itself to its full fruition. So I say to you, brothers and sisters, as I close out, that if we don't take anything else from Malcolm, which we take a lot, is the fact that Malcolm didn't have a college education. Malcolm was a criminal. Malcolm didn't have affluential parents throughout his life. He lost his father at 6. His mother was committed to an insane asylum because she said, how in the world can my husband bash himself on the back of the head with a hammer and lay down on tracks? So because she stood on her truth, they said that she was crazy. Malcolm was every one of us. Malcolm came from the bowels. He came from the sewers. He came from the worst parts of what America claims to be. But he rose to such a place of prominence that 32 countries around the world have a Malcolm X Day. They celebrate our brother because not only was he our manhood, but he became the manhood for all of those black and brown and red nations around the world who couldn't stand up for himself. And one last thing before I leave. Imam Hussain, he is truly al-Shaheed. But when Malcolm X was assassinated, you do the research. 29 other leaders was assassinated after him. Why did they wait until they assassinated Malcolm first?
Teach.
Thank you guys for your time. I hope that you gained something from this. If there was anything good, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any mistakes that were made, Aman. Shukran jazilan. Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So the what?